gonna start this game. So this game is going to be Faker on Ryze. And he has Samsung Galaxy's substitute in the top lane on Poppy, Samsung Helper. And he's against Jace in mid lane, and the enemy team has Sohan and a 800 LP jungle challenger. And they have Afrika Kramer, who was formerly CJ Kramer. He was the guy that did boatloads of damage for his team. He had something like 33% of his team's damage percent, or team's total damage. So no one really looking to go aggressive, and you're seeing this happen primarily because there's an Olaf. Olaf is one of the most dangerous champions to try to face check or to be too forward up against on the map. So we're just seeing everyone stand normally. Now, this would be pretty interesting, actually. I was just thinking, like, well, I guess you can't really know if Olaf is just waiting in the back, right? But it would be really interesting to go flash for flash against Soraka there. That would be really, really, really cute. And now they're going to come up and they're going to get intel. And what this does is it gives all the information over to Faker, to Helper, oh, Haru's actually the jungler. Okay, I didn't even realize that. I just realized that. Samsung Galaxy Haru. So okay, we're going to keep our eyes on Faker. And you can see how he's choosing to play the lane. Getting in autos whenever he can. And he managed to actually get ahead of Jace on points. So he's guaranteed now to get the level. Okay, can we stop moving the camera? Thanks. Alright, so he gets the level 2 jump, and he's just playing on the left side of the lane. And what this actually does is it may look like a risky pocket when you know that Olaf started red, right? But what ends up happening is if Olaf does actually come out of the brush, Faker can just, I mean, Olaf's going to have to use Ghost, in which case Faker could just use Ghost. If that ends up happening, then what happens is that Elise actually will get 2 camps on Olaf, and then Elise is going to be able to actually invade Olaf and just put a ton of pressure on Olaf. And then when that happens, Faker is going to be able to keep the lane in between like this line and then play right-centric and be protected by Elise. So even if it looks like it's a little bit risky against an Olaf that started on the left-hand side, it's not. Alright, let's stop moving the camera. Okay, and now this is something that you see people do actually against Faker and Dopa. You'll notice that almost always early on, they let the lanes push into them. At least in the very early levels. And now, when he sees Jace place that ward on the right-hand side, or, oh no, what the hell? I thought Jace just went down to place a ward. Faker's recalling on this wave intentionally, because now he wants his Tear the Goddess. Someone actually pings that Faker is coming into the right-hand side, and he's moving with Haru. And this is a little bit interesting, because you would have already assumed that Faker just would have hard-shoved and then recalled. But looks like he didn't actually opt into that. And so now, this is a little bit dangerous, but not so much, because they have this ward against Olaf. Olaf is level 4. Faker actually cast Ghost, and nothing's happening. This is very, very, very aggressive. Lots of aggression actually happening fucking everywhere. Faker's gonna come back in. He might flash the wall right here. Soraka's there. What? Hello? What? Alright, that was late as shit. What the hell? Okay, tons of fucking chaos. Let's rewind. This was so weirdly played by him. So you see that he activates the Ghost, gets the Ghost out of Olaf, right? Olaf is actually up on Elise in terms of level. Faker doesn't have his cooldowns, right? But then he uses everything on Jace, and then Thresh goes for the flash, and then Elise goes for, she goes in on Olaf, right? The lane is also pushing into Faker. Jace isn't going to get level 4, so it doesn't matter. He waits a little bit to move around, and he's going to have EQ up. So at this point, after Jace flashes, I feel like it's almost completely correct, because you have vision on Ezreal. You know Ezreal's there. Doesn't matter if Soraka's coming. The correct play is always going to be to flash over right now and then just EQ onto Jace. But I think what he's trying to do is conserve it, because if he can conserve it, like if Soraka doesn't show up, for instance, right? these two people are going to get the kill. And then Faker conserves flash, then Faker has complete control over the lane, and then, he's going to get more CS over Jace, he's going to get level advantage, he's going to get gold advantage, he's going to get all of that. So he was trying to be really greedy with the flash, thinking longer term. Is he going to get the kill? Oh my god, Soraka. Oh, okay. Alright, so they get the kill. They're onto Ezreal, and now Faker's definitely going to recall, probably going to pop the Scryer. Yeah, they just want to see if Olaf's coming. When this happens, and there's no Olaf, you know that he's at Gromp. He has nowhere else to go. So now, Elise probably knows this, and now here you come, a ping onto mid lane. I don't know who pinged that, actually. There's no way for me to... I don't know who pinged that. But now you can see that the lane is actually going to push into Jace. So Elise actually sets up, because you have to know that Jace just ran straight down mid lane. And if Jace ran straight down mid lane, okay, and you know that Olaf goes up top, you see Echo recalling, that means that Olaf's next route is going to be to come to Wraiths. Well, you know that Jace doesn't have flash, and you know Jace doesn't have ignite. This is one of those scenarios where this is why Faker was trying to actually hold his flash, even though I think that it probably was just worth it to flash and kill. He was trying to do it so that it would be more worthwhile later on. So again, going back to the fight that happened a minute ago, if he could save his flash, it rewards him more in the future, but the immediate impact, when he probably already knows that he's a lot better than this mid laner, it surprises me to not see him just flash instantly and get the kill anyway. So right now, you saw that Jace just ran straight down. You know that Olaf's next route after Golems, and you can track him through the Fog of War, is going to be to go to Wraiths. That means that if Elise comes up like this, and she ganks Jace out, and then moves into her left side jungle, it's basically like a handshake, where now Olaf can't go anywhere on the left-hand side of the map, and Olaf is forced to go on the right-hand side of the map, which now the bottom lane can play into, and then Faker can play into by playing on the left-hand side of the lane. So there's a lot of stuff that's happening right now all at once. So this doesn't actually end up happening, and now Elise, not sure what she's doing. Faker actually coming to get Scuttle Crab, and Faker spots out Olaf, not able to actually get the Scuttle Crab, a little bit unlucky there. That would have been a really big pickup, because it would have denied Olaf, and then Olaf really has nothing to do. And now they're just looking to make stuff happen. They know where Olaf is. Faker has double buffs. He has his tier, he has his boots. Jace not really itemized to fight him right now. And meanwhile, Poppy basically just gets a free lane up in top. For the most part, you know exactly where Olaf is right now. You know exactly how to play around him. Faker is immune in mid. He's completely immune to everything. And because of the double buffs, he can just keep on blowing out his load. He doesn't want to step too far up, though, inside of the lane, right? Because remember, we talked about in previous VOD reviews that there are imaginary lines that we can talk about, right? So like this is 2, and then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then whatever, and then 8's over there, and then 9, right? 9 is very, very rare. 9 is like if you have an Alistar support, or like a Thresh, or I don't know, Braum, Leona, or something. Maybe you can make use of 8 and 9, like you can talk about it in a theory sense, okay? But in this scenario, Faker is actually free to even play up into 6. The best place to play the lane, though, for him is going to be on the very border of 5 going into 6. If Olaf shows, or if they get any intel on Olaf somehow, then Faker is actually allowed to play inside of 6 relative to all his warding, or all the wards that are supplied for him. So now he pushed in mid lane, and he's looking to run bottom lane because he saw that a fight was probably brewing. Elise might go down here. This is actually really dangerous. Okay, they find the kill onto Soraka. Faker gets up in Ezreal's grill, and then Jace actually runs down. And this is a little bit surprising. This is bad by Jace. He finds a kill, but he should never find a kill there. So let's actually rewind. What should Jace have done here? So this is something I talk about all the time in coachings, right? When the enemy mid laner roamed ahead of you and you cannot do anything about it, you have to treat it like a twisted fate, okay? So what Jace should do in this scenario is just actually hard shove in mid lane, and that's not even that bad of an option. You can see he's trying to run down, But realistically, there should be no way for him to get there. Instead, he could have picked up this wave. There's no teleport on Faker's team. He can get a lot of turret damage, and then it's going to be likely that he can actually pick up another wave, depending on how bottom lane goes. Even if Jace isn't coming right now, nothing's going to happen here. All that's going to happen is that Olaf and Ezreal are going to back up, and the lane is actually bad for the enemy blue team. Jace getting a kill is really, really high variance. Like, it's very, very, very low chance that he actually ever finds a kill there. Faker stays to pick up the wave. Okay. So now after that recall, you notice Elise actually comes into mid. Interesting that she doesn't choose to hold it. And I say that because Faker's actually behind an XP on Jace. So that's a little bit surprising that Elise didn't choose to hold it there. And then again, Elise is actually behind of Olaf, but that doesn't really mean too much. Alright. So now Faker's going to come in here. He's probably going to hyper shove this wave and then go to get blue. But he's going to get blue after the Gromp. Alright. So I was going to go, and they're going to hand off blue. And this is an opportunity where you might actually see 3 go top. Okay, so Faker gets blue. He moves out into river. Nothing's happening in top lane, actually. So Echo actually backed up too much, and so did Poppy. So nothing could happen. Now, they have to know exactly where Olaf is, because Jace still isn't playing the lane as if he's getting ready to hand off the blue. Okay. Now, if this lane comes in your Faker, right, you have to be looking at this like, okay, if Jace blows his entire load all over the lane, then it's likely that, he's getting ready to go get blue buff. And actually, Faker trying to lock him up and apply a lot of damage, and this is going to be one of those situations where, Jace? Okay, I might actually find a kill here, because Olaf was coming around. And Faker actually got a little over-aggressive. But the problem with this is this doesn't really mean anything. They trade Ignite for Flash on Faker, which is sort of whatever, right? But then think about what this does in the big picture, okay? Now you potentially lose your blue buff. You lose pressure in bot lane. You force your support to come mid lane. Jace now has to recall. Now Olaf doesn't have a clear-cut jungle route. You're compromising top lane. There's a lot of stuff that goes into this unless you can absolutely guarantee the kill. And now this fight's happening. Thresh actually goes down. What the hell was that? Okay. And Jin's getting killed. Well, he's not getting killed, he's getting chunked. They're going to respond now with... wait, what? Okay, well, hold on. What the hell's going on here? This is the stupidest shit in the world. Okay, so this happens. This should be the easiest Cloud Drake into Ezreal bot lane. Ezreal pushes wave. Ezreal recalls after Cloud Drake. Jace is back from his recall. No idea why he's still farming the wave. So this is what happens here, okay? Olaf does not do this. This is an idiot, okay? This is fucking the most stupidest thing in the world I've ever seen, okay? Olaf, Soraka, Ezreal, go to Cloud Drake. Eat Cloud Drake. Jace should already be recalled. Jace should be on the fountain. After Cloud Drake is killed, Ezreal goes down to bottom lane. Ezreal pushes out the entire wave, which will then, Jin's going to be standing right around here. Okay, after that, Olaf, with his, low HP, low mana, whatever, moves up to blue buff, unites with Jace, lane collides in mid, Jace comes down around here, kites blue, kills it right here, Olaf recalls right here. Olaf gets an item, moves on to the left-hand side of the map, which is going to directly match Elise, because then Ezreal is recalled, Ezreal's back on fountain, about 10 seconds before Olaf. He should probably be on fountain, so that means that Ezreal is going to be around here as Olaf begins to move into the left-hand side, which means that Elise has zero incentive to go bot lane, and then Kramer and Algorithm are going to be fine, and they're going to be safe. And this is, I think that should almost always be the standard route. The line that he takes, I have no idea what the hell the purpose of it is, because I guess maybe he's thinking if he kills Jhin, then maybe you can get bot tower damage, but that's not a real thought process that you should have. It's just weird because you would think that these are ABC routes at this level of play. These aren't very complex. These are very clear cut. Because when you break it down, right, each person only has like a 2 or a 3 point flowchart. Like Olaf's flowchart is 3 things. Ezreal's flowchart is 3 things, right? So in the grand picture, when you're having to discuss it and break it down and talk about it, yeah, it may seem overwhelming, right? But in reality, I mean, each person only has one role. And as long as they know what they're doing and the others have a general gist of what the others should be doing, then it works out fine. So this is weird. Oh, shit. Alright. Well, now Faker is going to come in here. Just got an assist, couldn't actually get onto Jace. And now this is fine because now Faker's team is going to be the one that gets Cloud Drake. Thresh doesn't need to be here. Thresh should be right here. Yep. And they place the control ward just so they know. Yep. And Soraka blasting plants away. And now Faker goes back into mid. This is probably a situation where Faker is going to go super hard on Jace. Never mind. Jace puts an end to that with that Shock Blast. The Shock Blast means that the lane is not going to be locked. And Jace is going to be able to throw it back into Faker relatively quickly. Basically, top lane is a complete island. We haven't even really had to talk about it. Everyone knows exactly where Olaf is right now. They know that he's at Golems. And now Elise is moving on to the left-hand side of the map, which is why we can also see Faker playing on the right-hand side of the map, but Faker is recalling right now. You see a Mia ping going down. You see Mia pings going down on Faker. And now Faker trading actually with Jace. And he backs up. Meanwhile, in bottom lane's under a lot of pressure, and Elise is calling for a gank onto Jace. This is really risky with no intel up here. This is really bad. If Olaf's waiting right here, this can turn very, very ugly. And it's not going to turn ugly, because they weren't on a ward. Let's just see if Elise actually trinketed this, or if she scryered. Otherwise, this is weird as shit. Although, I guess, actually, no, if we break it all the way down, then you have to know that there's no ward. Yeah, you have to know there's no ward. It's impossible for them to have a ward there. Okay, never mind. Never mind. This is really stupid. Unless Olaf came to Wraiths and placed a ward. What is Olaf's trinket? Okay, at least has flash. This is probably fine, actually. This is probably fine. Because Elise has flash. Worst case scenario, they would match, and Jace would flash away. But I think even if Jace flashes away, actually, he still dies. I was a little bit wrong by saying that it could get ugly if Olaf's there. Unless it's warded, then Jace obviously doesn't need the cocoon. That's weird. Alright. Soraka is Tyler wanting it. Tyler wanting it for sure. And now Ezreal is just going to back up, and Faker and Jhin are just shoving in the wave. So now Faker's going to recall. He is pretty far ahead of Jace. He's going to get the Roa. And this is one of those games where it's probably going to be him going Seraphs into Deathcap. I would be surprised if he itemizes differently, and I'm saying that because of how explosive the game has been and how accelerated it's been. This is basically lining up so that if you get your Seraph's Embrace, the active is extremely powerful at the time which you're likely to complete it relative to how the game has turned out, and then you would just immediately go into Deathcap as long as you're remaining ahead and you're unnaturally fed, and you know, then the utility from the Roa and the Seraphs kicking in at maximum effect is just too much. And they lock up Echo, and they get the kill on Echo, and I wouldn't be surprised if we actually just see a Rift Herald attempt. Nope, no Rift Herald. And Elise is actually just staying on top of Olaf. Checks for golems, knows that they're not there. They know exactly where Olaf is, and they know exactly where Olaf can go. Faker just keeping the pressure on in mid lane. Olaf and Soraka coming around from the right-hand side, but that's not going to do anything because it's already obvious like what can happen. Oh, she's fucked. Yep, another kill happens. Faker ulting over the wall. That's not the best ult. I think he actually meant to place it over Gromp. Never mind. He's going to kill Ezreal before Echo can get there. Oh! Echo, though, with the parallel convergence. And, oh my god. Elise actually managed to get down. Faker coming in. Gets the kill onto Ezreal. And now, I mean, from right here, okay, Jace is here, but that doesn't really matter too much. Soraka fucking ult cucking the shit out of stuff. Elise now just needs to go mid, shove mid, and get the turret. Everyone here could stay bottom and just get the turret as well. Because if they're going to keep Jace or Olaf bot, it doesn't really matter anyway. And it's not like Echo has a miracle second teleport, because his HP value is too low to actually recall back and then instantaneously R. Although Echo probably trying to get a bright idea. He doesn't actually have any mana, and I'm talking about Faker. Okay. Thresh might die. But if Thresh... Alright, Faker found a kill onto Echo. Really, really, really good trade. Olaf ults immediately, and Elise just says, you know what, you're actually pretty bad, and kills him. And I mean, at this point, Jace is in mid lane. You look at the game timer again, and this is a little bit different. Jhin is only here to basically eat up the wave and make sure that Jace can't actually shove anything in. Now, Faker's going to recall. We're going to see what he itemizes into. He does get the needlessly large rod, but we're going to have to see if he does just turn it into Seraph's Embrace, because when you're having an accelerated mid-game or an early game like this, I talked about how the Seraph's Embrace utility, normally you won't see Ryzes complete it until 3rd or 4th item, but in situations like this, where you're accelerating very quickly, you can pick it up, because then the active opens up a lot of possibilities for team fights that are going to occur at this point, and then it provides a pretty clean way into death cap. Alright, so now they're going to get mid lane turret. Jace is just basically waiting. The enemy team's in a really bad spot right now, and now they're all just going to rotate up to top. I don't know how that actually... Wow, that's really annoying. They're going to rotate up to top, they're just going to tank this turret, they're going to kill Echo, and then they're going to capture top tier 1. In the meanwhile, Jhin should not have actually been here. He's going to die. Yep. Jhin shouldn't have been there. They should just get the turret. I don't know what's going on here. These three should have just actually eaten this wave and gotten the turret and have Faker go back to mid, shove in the wave, because nothing else can happen. I think that they're putting too much emphasis on the Cloud Drake, but it's not really necessary. They already have one Cloud Drake, but they don't need a second one. Bottom tier 1 dying doesn't really matter either, because if the enemy team gets Cloud Drake because you guys chose to stay 3 top and get top tier 1 turret and Faker 8 mid, then what can end up happening is Faker can probably shove in one more wave mid. You guys concede Cloud Drake, and then Faker picks up blue, and then he recalls into Seraph's. Yep, Seraph's Embrace. Okay. This is a little bit bizarre how the red team is choosing to play this out. Faker just shove in mid lane again, and he's now coming down. Surprised to see him not just throwing Qs, though, to charge up the Seraphs. Doesn't really matter too much. Now he gets here, he locks up Jace. Yeah. And he misplaces his ultimate, actually. A little bit uncharacteristic. Doesn't have flash, but that's probably going to be okay. Yeah, Ezreal's going down here. And then you can see that Faker diverted his attention to Jace because he realized that Elise could probably clean up Ezreal, and if not, then he would be able to clean him up anyway at that point too. Kramer didn't even actually opt to heal, so that's unfortunate. And now they're just going to get mid tier 3 turret. All the meanwhile, Echo hasn't really done much this game. Top was a complete island this game. He's actually proxying bottom wave. This is really, really interesting. Because now it means that this wave being built up and then this wave coming is probably actually going to damage that turret and get it, because there's no wave in bottom. That's a very, very subtle play that he made. And I don't think that it's unreasonable to assume that he knows that this means that that turret will go down. That's actually really, really, that's sick. Jace is going to get there. But had Jace not gotten there, the turret would have surely gone down. That was a really high level. Okay. So now Faker is in mid lane. Fiendish Codex picked up, so he's not actually opting into Death Cap. And he might just be viewing this as the game being completely busted. What the hell? I think that's pretty sick that Kramer actually shot the ult at the mini minion. Faker is going up. He's going to kill Kramer. Dr. Manhattan is here. And now Faker's probably just going to get top tier 1 turret. Thresh and Jhin are rotating up. Meanwhile, though, Poppy having a little bit of a fight with Olaf and Jace. That doesn't really mean too much. So anyways, the way that Faker's probably viewing this with the Fiendish Codex purchase is that the game is so busted wide open. He has already an unnatural amount of damage, and he just wants to get some CDR. And he just wants to opt into utility. Because you don't actually need to keep itemizing damage after this happens. Boom, boom, boom. You don't need it anymore. Your team is already way too far ahead. This is like that thing that I talk about all the time, getting QSSs and getting GAs and stuff early when your team's really far ahead, because it removes opportunity and it really constricts what the opponent can do, and it suffocates them. It's a lot better than continuously just getting offense. Like, let's say that Faker gets a needlessly large here in a blasting, right? It still doesn't change the fact that, Faker could misstep into a brush, get silenced by Soraka, and then get punished, right? Then the counter argument is made, well, then they should have just had better wards. But, I mean, it doesn't change the fact that he's overkilling a majority of the time already as it is, because he is he's over-itemized right now, and the enemy team is actually under-itemized. So it's not even like it's over-itemized versus regular itemization. It would just be better if he has defensive items. Teleport coming in. Faker saying, okay, you want to do that? Alright. Oh, they're surrendering. And then he ulties back. Alright. And so that's it for that game.